I never see what I'm doing.
Okay.
Holy shit! Like, hey guys,
I did not hear that.
fuck.
Are we ready? Are we ready tonight? Who's going to
Ready?
be in the house tonight?
Chris
Well, we get to have
George.
Chris George in the
Chris
house tonight.
George.
Chris George is here at the Fox Den.
Maybe and wait a minute. Usually it's the hand in the fox den, but how would we say the Godfather of I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
I'm gonna share.
Yep, gonna share here too.
On the Fox Den. Right. So that's one share, and then I'm gonna try to share. I'm gonna try to share to a friend's page on a friend's timeline, and let's see.
Hey Jody. Hey Lisa. Hey Mary Jane.
Share. All right. So
this is gonna be fun. Oh my gosh, we got so many people already. Right? Snow, I like that name. Snow Gypsy. Snow, I'm just going to call you Gypsy because snow is a 4-letter word in my book. I just got rid of it like 1 month ago.
All right. So I shared it to 2 pages on there. So I'm good. I'm done with my phone now. And now I'm with you guys. All right.
Okay.
Yes, we're excited. We have about 30 seconds before the actual radio show starts. I'm going to play a little intro video for you all. So here's the thing. For you guys who are just listening, whether you're listening on, your
show will go live in 5 seconds. 4
or the Anchor,
3,
go to
2,
the YouTube.
1.
Because then you got to see what we got to show you.
Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everybody. We have a very exciting show tonight. And we have, who do we have?
Chris George.
In the house. All right. I'm going to show a little intro video, and then we'll be here with him in a minute. Good evening, everybody. I am Gina B, and the place to be is here with me and Mama D every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the Fox Den. This evening, we have a very special guest, psychic medium Chris George, joining us in the Fox Den. Chris is known for enjoying his cigars, cocktails, and food with friends, and how much he adores his family, brother Danny and his sisters. He lives for his kids, his girls, and his son Jojo. The very special bond he shares with his mother. That is, when he's not torturing her. Poor Miss Daisy. But Chris and I go way back. We met at SalemCon. And who knew that we'd be back there doing the event together? We have been best friends ever since. We held parapsychic events and ghost hunts, as well as the annual themed para parties as C&G Productions. For so many years, he hosted Second Sight Paranormal Radio with several co-hosts. He asked me to co-host Second Sight with him eventually. From there, we created Second Sight Paranormal, and the Paramafia was born. With Chris as the Godfather, Genghis Tom Gillespie, Jody Toes Del Vecchio, and me, the Parafox. He left the radio as he was doing what he loved to do, his psychic work, what he's best known for. He created Psychic Poker, a method where he gives readings using numerous decks that speak to him, and he's always spot on, and there's always a tear in the house. When he's not doing that, or giving readings, he's teaching classes. Psychic development for adults and for children, mojo bags, candle magic, spells, crystals, so many more. He has performed over 100 exorcisms. There has been some pretty amazing captures on film of his facial transformations while channeling. He's been featured on numerous TV shows and interviews. And when he or his alter ego are not posting funny pictures, memes, and making us think in general with his daily inspirational quotes, ladies, he's single. Welcome back to the Fox Den, Chris.
How you doing?
I love that. Okay, I just have to say, I just have to say one thing. The last picture is my favorite because you see these little cheeks right here, like, oh my God, just want to pinch them.
That's what happens when you're chubby.
There you go. Okay, for everybody who's in the chat room, I keep thumbing up so that you know that we're not missing you because in Facebook, in the normal broadcast, we cannot acknowledge except unless we interrupt our guest and my other co-host, the girl over there. So I'll be thumbing up and hiing everybody. Now I'm shutting them. Go back to my back.
Well, welcome to the Fox Den, Chris, which was formerly Second Sight, and you and my
Yes.
show. And you like the video. Jody
Love
Toes
the video.
is in the chat room, and yes,
Yes.
it. And hi everybody that's watching. Hey, you guys, share the video. All right. And again, I'm going to say this. I was saying this at the beginning, but I'm going to say it now. For those that are listening, if you're listening to like even Anchor when this is an archive or the DTM archive, and you're just listening to the broadcast, go to our YouTube channel, the Fox Den hosted by Gina Bankston, and like it, subscribe to it. But you want to watch this one because I'm going to be showing pictures like that video that was in the front there. You know, that was funny. That was great. You got to see it. Okay. But later on, I'm going to be showing some pictures, and I want Chris to explain the pictures. So, you know, either watch this, share this, or go to the YouTube. Okay. So that being said, hi, Chris.
How you doing, Gina? Can I do your intro? It's been a long time.
God, it has been. Go ahead.
Gina Bean, the place to be. P Fox, Paranormal Fox, the paranormal princess herself. G-Spot Gina Bankston.
Okay, you're gonna have to come up with one for me, okay, George? Chris.
I can do that. I can do that.
Okay.
Beautiful butterfly babe, the magical, the mystical Mama D.
There you go. I'm excited to be on the show. It's been a long time since I've been on the radio with you. It's been at least a year, right?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Dave. Hi, Kim. Hi, Jean. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Mary Jane. Hi, everybody. I can't say y'all because there's a lot of you in the room.
There are 27 people already. 28 people watch. Well, I'm 28, so
I'm happy.
Nice.
I'm very glad that you're all here. I really am. But you know, I have this list of questions, 42 of them.
yeah. And I get the first one.
All right.
Okay.
So Mama wants to know all these things about you. She says it's not fair because I know most of these things about you.
Yeah, true.
Right.
And I just know little tiny bits. But what were you like as a teenager?
As a teenager, wow. Okay.
It's not that long ago, so just
Well, no, I'm 51. I mean,
oh please,
so
you're still a
it's not-
baby.
you know, it's not so recent. I was a popular kid. I played baseball. I played football. I wrestled. Honestly, I had a lot of girlfriends. I was very, I was out there. You know, I wasn't a quiet kid. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely not. So what were you like in school?
Well, it depends on what school you're talking about.
High school.
Well, high school was a whole different thing. Right before high school, believe it or not, I only had about 4 friends, and you know 2 of them, Lisa and Lionel. But I didn't have many friends in grammar school. I didn't really fit in Catholic school. I'm more of a public school kid. So, you know, I did like 4 years in Catholic school up until the 8th grade. And like I said, I didn't have many friends. But then when I got into high school, everything changed. I went to, public school and, I fit in and I became a big baseball star or football star and all that. I had scouts following me all the time for years, until I graduated and got drafted, into the major leagues. So high school was fun. I wasn't one of those kids that like got into drugs or drinking or anything like that because my whole life was predicated on being the next great third baseman for the New York Mets. So that was my whole mindset, that and playing football. I had like 90 baseball scholarships. I had 30 football scholarships, and I didn't take any of them because I got drafted. And so, my whole high school year was basically all sports. I mean, my whole life was centered around baseball. I played on 5 different baseball teams.
Steve Beshy's in the house. He said you started smoking cigars at age 7.
I started smoking cigars, I would say, I was married, so I would say about 15 years I'm smoking cigars.
Ah, okay. And he is.
I love my cigars.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I've smoked plenty of them with you.
Yes.
So now, all right, what was your biggest dream that you had when you were like, teen, early 20s? And
simple. Like I said, my dream when I was a kid was baseball. There was nothing else. Nothing else. I didn't care about anything except baseball. That was my whole life. And I was so dedicated. I was driven. I was that kid. I remember one of my coaches, I think I was a senior and I was playing in an all-star game, and there was like loaded bases and 2 outs, and we were down by 2 runs, and I was up, and my father was like, "Oh shit, oh my God!" And the coach looked at me and he goes, "What are you worried about?" He goes, "He's going to win the game." He said, "No situation is ever too big for this kid. He's got this." I wound up hitting a grand slam and we won the game. But so like for me, it just came very easy, baseball, and that's all I ever wanted to do. That's all I ever wanted to be until I became psychic medium Chris George.
All right. Is that why you push JoJo so much in baseball?
I don't push him. He loves it, and he's 14. He's going to be 15 in August, and I really don't push him. I tell him, I said, "You want to be great, then you listen to me. You want to be me."
I've watched your lives. Oh my God, you are the father in the stands that everyone wants to say, "Shut up."
Yeah, well, but you know what? I support him. You know why I'm so, and I don't think I'm hard on him. I just tell him, if you want to be great, listen to me, and he does. He listens to everything I say. He's a great student, and I push him, I think, because I think he's better than I was, and I was the best player on the island. And at 14, I think he's better than I was at 14. And if he's better than I was, he has a chance to make it, as far as I'm concerned. So,
well, the Mets need all the help they can get.
They need a lot.
So do the Jets.
Oh,
just saying.
Yeah. We'll see what happens this year.
Throwing it out there.
I say that every year.
I know.
I just want to show you guys something I'm very proud of.
Our mug. Oh, yes. I have.
You know who that is, right?
Yeah, that's us. I have one of those mugs too. I got, want to see what I got? Do you remember making this book for me?
Yes, I do. I do.
This book has all pictures of us
God, that's so cute.
and throughout, our adventures together and para-party.
Adventures or misadventures?
A little bit of both.
All of the above. That's why I'm not going to show every page.
There's some pictures that cannot be seen. All I'm going to say is the SpongeBob picture can never be seen.
Well, I'll have to see that after the show, people.
That's my blackmail picture. I got a good couple.
Wait a minute.
Blackmail.
I can remember you guys talking about an event that you did at a hotel, and something about somebody, and I think it was Superman trunks.
Oh, yeah.
Superman. It's like, I don't remember who it was.
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no recollection of that.
You will not confirm or deny what you did. That was.
I didn't see it. I just heard about it. I'm sure that there's pictures out there. If anybody gets any pictures, please send them to me.
Yeah,
there's plenty of pictures.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, I miss the para parties. They were great. We had a lot of fun. Yeah, Chris and I, we worked great together, awesome together. But what I asked you before was what your biggest dream was then was baseball.
Right.
But what is your biggest dream now?
I want my own show. Period. End of story. I think I belong on TV. I think I could do things that other people can't. I think I could do things that have never been on TV before. And I've come close 3 different times, and 3 different times it just hasn't worked, in my favor. But I'm not giving up. I think eventually it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say. All those things, we did sizzle reels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what has to happen. Sizzle reels.
Yeah.
Come and go.
I'm not down. I'm waiting for my opportunity. When it comes, I'm gonna kick that door in and take it.
Yeah. Mary Jane says I would love that. That would be yes.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember I had you, both of you, on one of my other shows, which I don't have anymore. And at one time you had done an interview to be on a show, to have your own show. And I remember that you had said that they wanted you to be more Italian. And I was like, what?
They call me the godfather of psychic mediums. And they say, I'll give you a reading you can't refuse, okay? And the thing about being the godfather, it's all about respect. And, because I'm all about respect, especially when it comes to dealing with the spirits. I'm a big believer in that. And I did an interview with the Sci-Fi Network, I don't know, I think it was the Sci-Fi Network, and it was on Skype, and you know, I was the godfather. I was doing my thing, and they loved me, and they said, we want to give you a show. So I was very excited. They said, but one thing, we want you to be a little bit more Brooklyn Italian. And I'm like, oh, who's more Brooklyn Italian than me? So they basically wanted me to be like a caricature of myself, and
Yeah, no.
I won't do that. I won't do that. I won't dumb myself down. I won't act like something I'm not. I think I'm enough. And if I'm not enough, then somebody else will think so.
Exactly.
You
I
are
happen to
more,
agree.
more,
You're more than enough. Way more than enough.
yeah, larger than life.
I try.
Definitely. So now, psychic questions. All right. When did you first realize you were psychic?
Well, okay. Now, I didn't know I was psychic. I was 9, 10 years old when spirit first started coming to me. I just thought I was seeing dead people. I thought I was a freak. And, you know, it was very hard for me when I was a kid, because you got to understand, I'm 51 years old. This started when I was 9, basically 10, whatever it was. So you're talking about 40 years ago. And 40 years ago, you couldn't be a kid talking to the dead and still be the cool kid. You know, you were the freak.
Yeah.
You know, today, if you're 10 years old and you're talking to spirits, you got your own show on MTV. But, you know, back then you didn't.
MTV anymore.
Well, you know what I mean. I'm just, but you know, it's more prevalent. It's more accepted in today's society. Back then it wasn't. So I was the weird kid, and I tried for years to push it away. And I would say I was about 15 years old. And the truth is, every time I do an interview, I say a different age. I don't know. I don't remember the exact age I was, but I want to say I was 15, maybe 16, when I finally said to Spirit, you know, please just, you got to stop. You know, I can't be, you know, Chris the athlete. I can't be Chris the boyfriend. I can't be Chris, you know, that cool kid that hangs out with everybody, if you're constantly chattering in my ears and talking to me. And I mean, I would be talking to my friends, and I'd have spirit all around them trying to talk to me at the same time. And, you know, it wasn't easy to shut it down. Well, I couldn't shut it down. It wasn't easy to shut it off. I didn't know how to, you know? So I was about 15, 16, and I said, please. I said, you got to let me just be me. And guess what? They stopped. And I mean, periodically they would pop up. I mean, literally periodically, like here, there, you know. And then what happened was I got out of the Air Force. I went to the Air Force, you know, after I blew everything with the baseball. I went to the Air Force. I got out of the Air Force, met my wife. I'm divorced now, but I was married. And I remember my daughter was just being born, and it was her birthday, her first birthday. And Spirit came to me. And that's when it started all over again. I remember, and I've told this story so many times. I know you know this story, Gina. You know, I remember I was about 2:30 in the morning, and I was watching Sports Center in my living room. I'd fallen asleep. And when I woke up, there was like 12 to 15 spirit in front of me. And it scared the shit out of me, because you have to understand, when I see spirit, I don't see it like you see in movies where they're transparent or they're just a shadow. I see them like I see you, like I see me, you know. It was full body. It was full. And it freaked me out because I couldn't see the TV because they were in front of it. And that just blew me away. And I thought I thought there were people coming to my house to kill me and my family. And then I realized they were from all different eras. They had on different types of clothes. And they were from so many different eras. And I just kind of went, I said, is this real? And I remember there was the one guy who I would say was the leader. He was a short little man in a trench coat type of thing, old school, with a big top hat and big handlebar mustache, and he went like this, like he was disgusted that I asked that question. And he turned. He walked through my living room, through my dining room, down my steps into the basement, and everyone follows him. And I said, "Holy shit, what just happened?" And it scared the hell out of me. It scared the hell out of me. And then it happened again.
Out of anybody.
Yeah, you know. Then it happened again a couple nights later, and then it happened a third time. And I remember saying, "What's going on here?" Right? And he said to me, and I'll never forget. And I didn't hear his voice, but I knew what he was saying. Okay, I couldn't hear them at that time, but it's different now. And he said to me, "You know, either you accept who and what you are, or we're going to haunt you for the rest of your life." And I just kind of went, "Well, what do you mean you're going to haunt me for the rest of my life?" He says, "Either you accept who you are and what you are, or we're going to haunt you. And I said, what do you mean who and what I am? And he said to me, he goes, you failed at everything you've ever done in your life. And I remember thinking to myself, what are you talking about? I played baseball. I was one of the best. I went to the Air Force. I was special forces. Then I got hurt, and then I became a mechanic. I started being the instructor. I said I was great at everything I've ever done. And he looked me dead in my eyes, and he was like, it was almost like a shark looking at me, like he was like dead behind the eyes. And he goes, and you failed every time. And it took me back a second. I said, you know what? You're right. I had the opportunity for baseball. I blew it. I had the opportunity with special forces. I blew it. I had the opportunity in the Air Force to make a career out of it. I blew that too. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, you're right. As good as I've been at everything I've ever done, in the end, I always failed. And that was a punch in the gut. And I remember saying to him, I said, okay, so show me. It was almost like, in that moment, I was like taken from here to here. And he was like, yeah, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, kid. Let us show you. And I said, show me. And I remember they turned and they walked through my living room, through my dining room, down my stairs into my basement. The last person was a girl, and I'm going to say she was from the 60s because she had on a Rolling Stone t-shirt, and she just had that whole 60s vibe going. She looked at me, she smiled, and she went, and I said, holy shit, am I really going to do this? And I did. And I followed them down those stairs. And that's when school began for me. I didn't learn what I do out of a book. I used to teach at the ARE, the Edgar Cayce Institute in Manhattan, psychic development. And all these people would come there and they would teach, and they were so educated and they spoke so beautifully. But you know what? They sucked at what they did. Everything they knew from a book. And then I would get up there and I would talk just like I'm talking now, like a regular guy. I wouldn't talk above anybody. I just spoke to them on this level. And it just kind of like worked for me, and everything that I've learned, everything that I know on the psychic realm has been taught to me by Spirit. Spirit was my mentor.
Mm-hmm. That is insane. That is it's so wild. Now you have what, six guides that are like?
I have about 15 of them. There are a few that are my main ones. My main one is Edward Pace. He's a Southerner, and he's the one who talks to me all the time. When I do seances, he's the one that everyone wants to speak to when he comes through. But the interesting thing about my spirit guides is most of them I would say, accumulated through seances, like going to people's houses, doing a seance. A spirit comes through that might be a spirit guide for somebody there, and then they just stay with me. All my spirit guides have pretty much been come to me in that way, which is crazy.
You're a magnet.
I'm a magnet.
It's a lighthouse. He's that shining light in the middle of the night, and all the butterflies and the bugs keep coming to him.
Mama, the thing is, with me, what you see is what you get. There's no bullshit. There's no fluff. I'm real, and I think the spirits know that. And the whole thing about the Godfather of Psychic Mediums, I know it's like a funny thing and everything, but it's true. That name was given to me by Victor Furman, who used to be one of my co-hosts, and he says, yeah, you give people a reading that they can't refuse. You're the Italian guy from Brooklyn, but the truth is, it's all about respect, and I think that the spirit know that. I respect them. I never taunt. I never, it's all about respect for me.
Right. And that's why we worked well together too. Like we'd go on a ghost hunt, and he'd even write things down so that, so I could prove via equipment what he's seeing and hearing and whatnot. So he'll like either whisper or write it down, say, here, like ask this, and then he'll put like William, the name down, right? And then I'll say, I'll ask a question in general, like what happened with this guy and what's your name? And all of a sudden, William will come through. I mean, that happened at the first para party.
I know. Well, that para party when we did that, and I remember Tammy was there with us, and that was one of the best EVP sessions ever. And then, if you remember, when I was at your house, we went to that one place where we did that. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you know what I have on here? Hold on a second. I have on here I took him to this place. I investigated this place for a year and a half. It was the brutalest place, right? It's a, what do you call it? A storage facility. So there's nobody in there. Huge building, empty, right? And I used to clean there. And I would go in there and I would walk in, and it's like every time you walk in, there was someone saying, I could cut you, I could cut you, I could cut you up, I could cut your throat, I could cut you, I could cut you, right? All this stuff. And everybody there in the place that worked there would either start drinking, steal from the company, get hurt, you know, all this stuff. Even my son-in-law has a bone that he had to have placed in his neck. Right? And he was like a manager there. But I have two things on here if I can play them. One is I Could Cut You, the EVP from that place. And the other one was when I was trying to get rid of it before I had Chris come there. And this guy, and I'll have Chris tell you about who this guy actually is. He's trying to make himself out to be really big and bad. And he says, you can't fight skulls, in this awful voice, right? So, but wait and listen to this.
Why do you hang around this building?
So that was the I Could Cut You, right? Now that's the Class A EVP. That wasn't turned up. This next one, I turned it up so that you could hear it louder. So that's why you hear like a little sound glitchy in it. But it's crazy. Rules this building, not. So
That was good.
Yeah, so that's the place. Now I was getting Class A EVPs in there all the time, but that one guy had so many spirits trapped in this building. Now I was releasing all these spirits and letting them all go, and you could hear them on the spirit box going, "We're free!" You know, going one Southern woman's like, "Julia, we're free!" Right, this accent and everything going. But that guy stayed there. But I took Chris there, and I was like, "I can't. This guy won't go." You know,
Yeah.
We found out all about him through Chris. You know,
I don't remember everything we found out. I remember that he was a deviant and he was
bloodletting.
I just don't remember. You know, I forget everything.
Yeah, he was bloodletting. He like Chris drew out this little picture of like one table and 7 things around it, and he said it was saying about bloodletting, and in the basement, and there was always this thing about a book being hidden in the basement. And Chris asked me if it's by writing on a door or something. You kept saying it's writing on a door. Well, down in that basement, in that building where no one goes, because I asked special permission to go down there because it's a locked facility. It's storage. There's writing on an old door, elevated door, writing on it, and right next to it is a tunnel, and they collapsed the tunnel because there's a whole bunch of buildings that they were all joined through the tunnels. So they collapsed the tunnel. So that book that they were talking about has to be in that tunnel somewhere. But you know, everything that Chris said, spot on. And then the guy was getting mad as Chris is outing him, actually saying he's a short, fat little dweeby dude, right? And he's making himself to be really big in death.
That's right. I remember that. Right.
Yes. He said, no, I see you. I see what you look like, you know, and he's getting madder and madder and madder, and things are like crashing around and everything. Oh my God. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. That was really, really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, he had to go. But
yeah, he had to go.
Yeah.
It was time.
Yeah. And you do that. Now today you had a consult at 1:00 today. Can you talk about what that was about and what happened?
Yes. Can I bring my partner on now to talk about that?
Absolutely.
Greg, come on over here.
Greg Nader in the house.
Yes, Detective
Just a
Greg
quick one. If I disappear, we're having storms, so.
Okay. So what happened was somebody contacted me about a year ago that she was being attacked by spirit, and she got nervous and she just kind of stopped talking to me. So about maybe a week ago or so, her boyfriend contacted me, and I had a conversation with him. And you know, just because somebody says that they have a demon or a spirit attachment doesn't mean that they do. You know, somebody who isn't reputable could take advantage of somebody like that. Okay. So what I did was I said, come to my house. Let's have a consultation. and she came here, and this was Greg's first consultation. You know, this is our new business together, Second Sight Investigations, and you know, he got to sit in on the first consultation. And I mean, the thing with me is when I start talking to somebody, I just kind of get lost, and you know, it's a little bit harder for me to explain. Maybe Greg, you could explain what was going on while I was talking to them.
So it was really interesting. I mean, for me, it's the first time I'm sitting there, and I'm just kind of like just taking notes, watching, observing as my first time. This is totally out of my wheelhouse, out of my element, but very interesting. And I see Chris. Now he's not one to really kind of like stop and think of what he has to say. He, you know, he's very quick speaking, and he spits it out. But I could see that he was having kind of a trouble. And I asked him later, and he told me this guy was like really trying to get into his head, and he was like tripping him up. And Chris had to like fight that away. All of a sudden, you know, he stopped. He's like, "Look, I gotta clear the space." And I seen him looking down on the ground. And later he told me that there was like little.
I like to call them like they're crawlers. They're like little spirits that hang really low. They're almost like, if you want to see like rats, like spirit rats, and that's what I was seeing. And with this woman, I felt like it was, and I call it a demon of confusion. Not that it was a demon; it isn't a demon, but that's just the way it comes into my head. And it was messing with her head. It was making this woman who was really educated, you know, very smart, very grounded type person, really screwing her up completely. Okay, and then the spirit was trying to do the same thing to me. So I had to nip that in the bud and do a little bit of clearing. But, you know, the bottom line is she's had an attachment. She thought for 2 years. I told her it's 3 years. And then she kind of agreed with me when I explained to her how it was progressively entrapping her. And now Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, we have a spirit removal.
Awesome. Awesome. And Greg, you're going to help.
Yeah. So we're to actually yesterday it was like pretty much official. Today we're proud to announce we're launching this new business venture together. Now I'm as you know, I'm a retired detective from the NYPD. I did 20 plus years. I worked in a detective squad. I handled all kinds of cases of whether it was murder, death, and investigations, suicides, right down to thefts and frauds. So we handled an array of different things. And now, after I retired, after doing 20 plus years, I started a private investigation firm. And as you know, right now, I take on some insurance fraud cases. Every once in a while, I'll get some slip and fall. You got to go out and do interviews and take photos. But more and more, I'm starting to see some cases of missing persons, some cold cases. People have interest in this, where the police department just they do the preliminary, they do their checklist, and then all of a sudden the case it moves on. Whether they could solve it, locate, and then you know, it goes cold. So what we're going to try to do is pick up these cold cases, and maybe Chris could use his ability, and combined we could come up with something unique. There's
a kid who went missing 3 years ago, and we're actually talking to a mother coming up very soon about working that case. So I'm excited about it. It's, you know what it's like to work with your best friend. You know, Greg has become he's like my brother, and you know, we've become extremely close, and working with him is something that I'm really looking forward to. And you can give him some pointers on working with me, Gina. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the thing is if you're going to be working with him and he's doing a spirit removal, the most important thing for you to do is just to stay calm, stay level. Don't let the situation get out of hand, you know, because you got to keep Chris safe, and you've got to keep the client safe, and you know, and you don't want the spirit to get out.
I got to tell you what my job was today.
What?
I had to light a piece of orange and circle around everybody, and I had to talk to the Archangel Michael, and I had to ask him to please help us clear this space.
He did a wonderful job.
And again, like this is really new to me. So I enjoyed it. I think it's fascinating, and I know he's the real deal, and I totally get it, and I trust, you know, doing this with him, because I know we're gonna have success. It's gonna be incredible.
Awesome.
So if people want to get a hold of you to do this investigation or deal with a cold case, how would they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we're building a website. It's actually under construction now, but there is a Facebook page that I just put up. Second Sight Investigation. There's a picture of us and our insignia with the flame in the eye. But yeah, let's get it out there. Let's start liking it, sharing it, because you know, we're gonna not just stay in the tri-state New York. We're gonna try to explore and get out there.
Yeah, this is the next big step as far as I'm concerned, and I'm very excited to do this.
And if you do need help, you know, you can.
I know it. I know who to call.
Me and Bob could help. You know, we got all the equipment. We know how to use it.
I know you do.
Yeah, and of course, at any time, and Greg, anytime you need any advice on what to do with Chris too, you know, for that type of stuff, and especially if you're channeling, you know, because. You know what? That is a question I wanted to ask you. Like, when did you realize you could channel, and then why do you channel? You know,
that's a great question. I'll tell you, and this is a great story as far as I'm concerned. There's a famous psychic. I don't want to say her name because I don't like her. And she's a voodoo priestess. Okay. All right, I'll say her name. Her name is Jackie Barrett. She's an asshole. And so years ago. Yeah, I couldn't care less. She's a very, very well known. She's a voodoo priestess. Anyway, so my ex-wife had a very close friend who was being mentored by this Jackie Barrett. And what happened was she was doing a seance down in Williamsburg in Brooklyn. And she said, well, I heard about your friend, Chris. Why don't you bring him down? I would love for him to come as my guest. So we went to this old art studio. It was an abandoned art studio, and there was about 20 people at this big table. And she had a husband who was into voodoo, and he's playing these drums, and they got the smoke going. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I get myself into? And I remember sitting down, and for 1 hour, this is what this woman did. You ready for this? She went like this. For 1 hour. When it was over, everybody, Gina, I will never forget this. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, that was amazing! Could you believe this?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Am I on candid camera?" But I mean, I didn't know what to say. So she comes over to me. She says, "So, what did you think, Chris?" And I was like, "Well, if I'm being honest with you," I said, "I just didn't get it. You know, the energy did raise in the room, but I didn't get it." She hated me right off the bat. So I went home that night, and it was me, my wife's friend, my ex-wife's niece, and her future husband, who I found for her, by the way, psychically. And I remember I said, I could do what she did. I said, if they thought that was amazing, let me see what I could do. And we went in my basement. It was just the four of us. And at the time, my son was born, and he was in the hospital. So Rosemary was with him. And so here I am in this basement, and I just did what she did. I just sat there. I cleared the space.
And he went,
I invited spirit into me. And 45 minutes later, I came out. All three of them were crying. And I said, what just happened? They were like, what do you mean what just happened? I said, what just happened? And they were like, Chris, you are not going to believe this. And that's how it started. I had no idea I could do it. I just had a hunch that I could. And then the big thing in my neighborhood was Saturday night at Chris's house, seance night. And that's how I got my name. That's how I became known, is by doing seances in my basement.
Yeah. And we used to do that too. When we do like our JoJo's here, you know, and a few people are in the chat room that have gone on some of our ghost hunts and parapsychic events, you know. And like we'd go to what's the mansion? Burnbrae. Yeah, we go to Burnbrae and everybody sleeps there. So it's a haunted, really haunted place. But they had a big, perfect round table to do the seances downstairs.
It was awesome.
Great dinner, grounds. There was like a haunted walk through the grounds, the cemetery.
They had about 1,000 dolls all over the mansion. Dilapidated looking. It was crazy.
Yeah. Last time I was there, I had my broken foot.
That's right.
And Bob was a special guest for us there. And
That's
Bob
right.
carrying me around, because there's so many stairs. He kept carrying me up and down the stairs. He saved my day. But yeah, I know, it was sweet. But
And now he sends me hearts in the chat room. Thank you very much.
it's my heart.
Excuse me. Let's not discuss this down there.
But that house, the events though, oh my God, there's always someone crying. I would leave the room and I'd come back and there's either 2 or 3 people crying at the table. I'm like, Chris, what did you do now?
What you do now?
Listen, the truth is, every time somebody cries, I feel horrible. But the other truth is, if they're crying, I did something,
Right,
you know, to make that happen. So it was probably something good.
Right,
Yeah.
right, definitely. But now
I remember that was the first time I read Bob.
Oh, right, yeah, it was. Yep, yeah, and I got that. That wasn't the time though. I don't think. Right, that wasn't. No, I was with Sabrina when I got that FLIR picture of that entity grabbing Sabrina's boob.
Yes, that was the time.
And
That was another time.
Before, and then I had you come, and then you channeled that guy, and someone was sitting next to. Yes, all right. See now, Sabrina.
Okay.
Let me back it up so everybody. Yeah, he cried. He did. He was one of the criers. A lot of people cried. JoJo cried. I think Althea was there. She cried. I mean, it was like a bunch of people cried. But no, the time before I was there, this creeper dude, you know, that I caught on FLIR, and it's like I got Sabrina was sick all day. She was running fevers. We were trying to cool her down. Now she's got a tank top on, and she is well endowed. Okay. Very well. So she came down to the room at one point. We were sitting in the very far room. There's a chair in a corner and a chair in a corner. I'm in one and she's in the other. And Sabrina goes, "Is there something touching my chest?" Right? And I got the FLIR going and I just kind of panned around the room and all of a sudden I look over her and there's this big dark thing and it's got its hand right on her boob and I'm like, "Yep." And I'm just taking pictures real quick. So, you know, and
That's awesome. That was awesome.
And so I'm getting my evidence before I tell her, and then I show her. I turn the camera around and show her the actual picture of this thing, and it's black as black can be, right at her shoulder, right on her. She goes like this. Never forget it in a million years. Shoo! Just like that. Shoo! I'm like,
Go.
you are shooing this thing.
God.
I've
Well,
never seen this
she's
thing
a character though, so.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. But they have that picture in a book there now. So they show that picture.
Well, what happened was that then when we went and I was doing the seance, I grabbed somebody's boob.
Yes,
I challenged him and I actually grabbed somebody's boob.
Linda was sitting next to him, and I'm trying to keep his hand down. Like, no, you're not.
I don't remember who it was.
It was Linda.
Oh, Linda, right.
Yeah, you grabbed her boob, and she was just like, you know. And then I slapped your hand down. Then you kept on trying to do it, and then like I had to have Linda move. But
I have no control.
I know. You never know. You don't know. You know who's gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, for those people who are interested, I will get the link to the Second Sight Investigations Facebook page and website, and I will link it into the show at the end of the show because I can't find it.
And the fan page or the page that we just put up today is brand new. We just did it while we were doing the show, so
That's why
there's
I can't
no
find it.
content there yet, but it's there.
Awesome. Well, hey, you know what? It's a beginning. Beginnings.
Yeah.
You know,
Somebody said better send me a friend request.
Well, anybody. Oh, you talking about Greg?
Greg, yeah.
Yeah. Well, he'll request everybody, and anybody who wants to request me, please, by all means, just send me a friend request.
Right.
I have you in many places.
That's
not a good thing to say, you know. But,
No. Let's see. Hold it, Gretchen.
Okay, I lost my questions.
Gretchen says, "I'm starting to use my skills more. I was thinking of doing it online for free. Any suggestions? I get overwhelmed at certain locales. It's scary."
You got to say that again. You was very low.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. She's Gretchen. Remember Gretchen from Oliver House? All right. She said, "I'm starting to use my skills more. I was thinking of doing it online for free. Any suggestions?" And then she says, "I get overwhelmed at certain locales. It's scary."
The first thing she has to do is she's got to start meditating because that's going to help her to slow things down. And when you slow things down, it's much easier to get messages. Okay. That's number one. anytime she does anything with investigating or any type of psychic work, she should clear herself. She should call on Archangel Michael for protection. She should call on Archangel Raphael to send healing. She should call on Archangel Uriel, you know, to help her with getting messages and stuff like that. Use the archangels to her advantage, and always, always, always make sure she uses protection. Very important.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what's your main thing of protection that you teach people? Because it's perfect. I use it every day,
Well,
twice a day, especially if I'm going out on investigations. But tell people about
Especially
it.
when she's talking.
you know, it's very simple. And you know, when I say it, people think does that really work? The truth is, yes, it does. And the thing is about doing any type of protection is it's all about repetition. You have to do it over and over again, and the more you do it, the stronger it gets. And it's so simple. You're gonna. There are a lot of they call themselves white lighters. I am not a white lighter. Okay, the white light is fine. I'm a big believer in the golden light. The golden light is the energy of Archangel Michael and Archangel Raphael, who, in my opinion, are the two most powerful of the archangels. And what you're going to do is you're going to call on the golden light to come down through your crown chakra, which is right here. You're going to see it filling your whole body from the inside, right? You're doing this all with your mind's eye, right here. You're envisioning it and you're feeling it. And take your time when you're doing it. You know, anything worthwhile takes time. So you're going to fill the whole inside of your body with that golden light. Once your whole body is full, you're going to like have it emanate from your body. You're going to have it come out about 12 inches. Okay, so now you're gold on the inside, you're gold on the outside, so you have your protection. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to envision little mirrors, like square mirrors, pointing outward all around this golden bubble. And you're going to say something like this. You don't have to say exactly what I say, but something to this effect. You're going to say, anything negative coming my way, any bad thoughts, bad wishes, negativity, evil, entities, anything that's negative coming towards me, I want you to see your ugly face and go back to sender in the most positive of ways. Now, that's a very important part there. You always got to send the negative back in a positive, because if you send it back as a negative, guess what? You're no better than the person that is sending it to you. And guess what? Why is that protection going to work for you? Why are the spirits going to help you if you're doing something just as shitty as somebody's doing to you? So you send it back in a positive. And if you do that every day, what you will find is that protection gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I believe in it. And listen, I'm an exorcist, okay? The Catholic Church don't like when I use that term, spirit removal. I've done 102 of them, okay? That's the protection I use. And if that protection, 103, and if that protection works for me while I'm doing something like that, guess what? It'll work for you too.
Yeah.
Right. I know 103 because I did the last 3 with you.
Yes. Yes, you did.
Yeah. That was insane.
Now, I like what you said about sending the negative back to the person, but sending them back with positive, because back in the day, which wasn't too long ago, I had somebody send something to me, and I just kept getting this like major throbbing pain on this one side of my head. And it only happened when I started to do readings.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is this? And I spoke to a friend of mine, and she explained to me what it was, who it was, and where it came from. And I said, okay. I called it Godzilla. I said, here's the deal. I said, I don't mind having you around, but you got to stop hurting me. But what I suggest is go back to who you came from, give them a big hug for me, and then once everything's fine and settled, come back and see me, but no more pain, please. So every so often I know he's still around because I still get a slight throb, but it's like, okay, just chill out. But after that, sending them back with hugs, because you know me, I'm like, I'll hug them.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like people that are really like true empaths, people that are empathic, it's very important for them to do something like that because they get what are known as energetic imprints. People leave their energy with them, okay? I call them emotional boo-boos. They just kind of stay with you. And unless you release them and protect yourself, guess what? It just kind of builds and builds and builds. And eventually, I don't care how strong you are, it has to affect you. Yes. So it's really important to do this protection every day. I believe in it. I've been doing it for 15 years.
Amen. Amen. And another important thing too is like a lot of people have been taught to go out and hug the tree and push in like Reiki and everything and push the negative energy out. All right, that's all well and fine, but whatever you remove, you got to replace. You got to
exactly.
in. You can't leave it empty, because you know what's going to happen if you leave it empty, and
We
then
feel
you walk
negative.
a haunted asylum. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
gonna
it's interesting that you're saying that. But last night, I think I was talking with you, Greg, about releasing the negative. And you mentioned the tree. I'm not big into tree hugging, but I will say this: if you want to release some energy, a great technique is to go out into the woods, lean up against a tree, become one with that tree, and then see roots coming out of the bottom of your feet into the earth. It's called earthing yourself, grounding yourself, earthing yourself. And what you're going to do is you're going to see all the negative energy leaving your body, going into earth. Okay, you're going to say, leave in the most positive of ways. And like you said, now you're empty. So you have to replenish that. And then you ask the earth to send you all its infinite, powerful, charged, wonderful energy. And you see it coming back into your body. Another technique that I love, and this is another thing I was talking about last night, is go to the beach. Go into the water about up to your knees, all right? When the wave is going out, I want you to see black, brown, gray, dark colors leaving your body. Then as the wave comes in, coming up your body, you're seeing light pink and light blue and peach and yellow, pretty nice, energetic colors coming into your body. And then when it leaves, you see the darkness going away again. And that's a great way to get rid of all your negative energy. And after a while, you're not letting any of the negative go because it's already gone. And all you're seeing is the positive coming in. And that's another great way to recharge yourself. Clear yourself and recharge.
Amen. And I'll tell you, yeah, everybody needs that. Anybody going on investigations, anybody getting into this field, it's not a joke. This is real life things. These are real life situations. They're no jokes. You do need to protect yourself before going in to an investigation or leaving an investigation. Make sure you're clear, and just tell whatever it is, you must stay here. You do not follow me. Because a lot of people will say, oh yeah, come on, I'll help you. I'll save you. Come with me. Like, no.
Yeah.
Do not do that.
A lot of this, and the thing is, a lot of this is just common sense. Like, I've never personally been on an investigation yet. I will be eventually. Hopefully it gets over and done with, and I get my passport. We'll be good. But a lot of these things are common sense, and to me, anyway. This is a minute, but I'm special.
Well, you think it's common sense, but common sense isn't so common. So
yeah, exactly. And they're not. What Chris and Gina are telling you, it's not that difficult. You just gotta think, calm yourself down, and just go through the basics.
When it comes to investigating, now Gina's the investigator. I mean, I investigate, but I'm the psychic. Okay, I'm not big in the on the investigation part. I like to go there and be the psychic, tell them what I get, and let Gina figure it out with her equipment. But one thing that I'm really big on is, the whole respect thing. If you go into I remember that we have a place here called the Kreischer Mansion. Okay, it's a very haunted place. It used to be a mob chop shop. Plenty of people were chopped up there and everything. And I remember I did an investigation there, and there were like 3 or 4 teams that showed up. There were maybe like 30 people, and I remember 2 teams were provoking, and they were being like really shitty, really nasty to the spirit, trying to get them amped up. At the end of the night, I loved it, and it just proved my point about not being nasty to the spirits. They got nothing. And then the 2 teams that were like really respectful and showing respect to the spirits and being kind, they got evidence that just kind of like blew everybody away. They got pictures, they got EVPs, they got so much evidence. It was like overwhelming. And the other 2 teams were like, well, you didn't get nothing up. You didn't even think this place was haunted. I'm like, well, should tell you a little bit something about how you go about doing your investigation. They didn't like that, but it was the truth.
It is the truth. It is definitely the truth. Because we say it all the time. You don't go to your neighbor's house and kick in the door and demand that they speak to you.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't.
Well, it depends on the neighbor, but yeah, I understand.
That's true. All right, Mama, what else do you want to know about Chris before we end up taking our?
Yeah, before we go on our
break.
Station break. Okay. When people come to you for a reading, what is the most popular question that they ask you?
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of them want to connect with their loved ones that have passed, but if it doesn't have to do with that, it's almost always about love. It's always everyone wants to know about love. Everyone It's love, 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 love. If it's not a deceased loved one, it's about finding love. Is my husband cheating on me? You know, and I tell them if I feel that they are. I mean, I remember a woman came to me years ago and she said, I want to know if my husband's cheating on me. I said, yeah. I said, actually, I feel like he has a kid in Atlantic City. You know, I think he sleeps with prostitutes, just like that. And she thought I was crazy. She paid a private investigator to follow him, followed him to Atlantic City, found out that he was sleeping with a prostitute and he had a baby with her.
Ugh.
So, yeah, if it comes to me, I'm telling him.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing with Chris too. All right. He is a very good psychic and he will not sugarcoat. He will not lie to you. He will tell you what he gets, whether it makes sense to him or not. You know, that's the thing. You know, there could be a name that comes to him that might not even be, you know, a common name or something. He'll say it and, oh my God, that was my great grandmother, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? So you don't know. When you're a psychic, you don't know what they're going to get. And
yeah, I don't filter it because I tell people, don't ask me something you don't want to know. Do we have time for me to tell you one story about something like that?
Of course.
Okay. So years ago, there was a woman who came to me. She was like 43, 44. And she asked me if she was going to have a baby. She hadn't had kids. And I told her, I said, you sure you want me to answer that? And she kind of stepped back and she goes, yeah, I do. I said, well, I do think that if you want to get pregnant, you will get pregnant. I said, but I need to warn you. I see Down syndrome. I see a heart condition. I see the baby dying in 2 years. She punched me in the face, threw money at me, and walked out. Okay? Let's fast forward 2 years. I was doing a radio show, and I think at the time River was my co-host, River Wildfire Moon. And I very rarely did live reading shows. Okay? But we did on this one show. And the owner of the network contacts me, goes, there's a girl that says she punched you in the face 2 years ago. Should I get rid of her? I said, absolutely not. I said, put her on. So she comes on. She goes, do you remember me? I said, well, I said, to tell you the truth, I don't remember most. I said, but when you get punched in the face, you tend to remember that person. So yeah, I do. She said, I said, but you got to refresh me on what I said that made you punch you. I said, because that I don't recall. She said, you told me I was going to have a baby. He told me he was going to have a little boy. He was going to have Down syndrome, a heart problem, and die in 2 years. And I says, well, I said, I apologize. I said, but obviously at that point, that's exactly what came to me. She says, well, I did have that little boy. He did have Down syndrome. He did have a heart problem, and he died last week. He would have been 2 years old. She says, you were 100% right. She goes, I'm only calling to apologize to you. She goes, number one. She goes, number two, I'm also calling to let you know I would not have changed one day of the last 2 years of my life. So she goes, I apologize for punching you, but I just wanted to let you know that you were right.
And see, I love that because when people come back and give you confirmation, whether we remember them or not, you didn't remember her except for the punch in the face, which is fun.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. But we don't remember the readings that you give. And it's just, there's something that stood out and that's what's but she remembered it. And that is like major. It's a major bonus for people who do readings, who do mediumship, who do psychics, whatever, to get that. Yeah, this happened. You know, what you did, what you said came to pass.
It's important. The validation is very important because there's so many shitty, fake psychics out there. Okay, and it makes it so difficult for legitimate psychics to be taken seriously. So that's why when somebody writes something nice about me, I always post it because that's important. And people always say, you know, how do you know if a psychic is good or not? I said, go by recommendations. I said, if 30, 40, 50, 60 people are telling you that this psychic is good, try him or her out. He or she is probably good.
Right. Yeah. Amen.
Got to be recommended.
Yes, there are way too many bad ones, and they do ruin everybody's reputation out there. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. We'll just do a little commercial break here. It's only 3 minutes, so we'll be right back, everybody.
Don't go nowhere.
The Fox Den is now proudly sponsored by Vortex Ghost Gear, one of the leading fabricators of paranormal equipment. Bob Christopher is the founder and creator of Vortex Ghost Gear. He has decades of investigating, starting with his team at NEPA, and as lead in the popular local TV show Ghost Detectives, he has experience of how spirits could be seen or heard. Using this knowledge, he has manufactured equipment for specific scenarios of spirit manifestation and communication. He is the only manufacturer of the popular lifelike trigger prop cats and dogs. Using proximity meters wired to lights and sound, these prove to be highly effective communication devices in the field of study. The HTO, another Vortex exclusive, allowing specific items to be the highlight or trigger of your investigation. For example, place the item on a metal tray or attach directly to any metal object such as keys or glasses that continue to go missing or moved. Ask the spirit to touch the item. The HTO will light. It has a sound option as well. This device was used in Travel Channel's Ghost Nation with great results. The Dome, a static detector, can be the most useful device in your gear bag. This is to back up the theory that the spirits manifest using static electricity. Using several, you can track a spirit, for example, walking down a hallway, setting off each as it passes. The geophone detects vibrations. This is another way to track movement. If a claim is footsteps in the hallway or stairwell, set the sensitivity and place the device in that area. Its band of lights will show a range of vibrations from the slightest tapping, lighting only a few lights, to the loudest thumping, lighting the entire range. The EasyScan ghost boxes are very popular due to the ease of use. They are custom decorated to the individual or team using them. Bob programs and uses an Arduino-based computer scanning FM waves to potentially communicate with the spirit realm in real time. Every box is unique and all custom hand decorated by Gina Bankston. The V-Pod has a special place for those who love the idea of REM pods. Use this sleeker, smaller, easier to transport device. It is a must-have in your gear bag. Take your investigating to the next level with many of Vortex Ghost Gear's unique and custom creations by Bob Christopher. Visit www.vortexghostgear.com to view all the products and get your equipment today. You can also investigate with Bob and Gina with Ghostly Excursions, taking people to some of the most haunted locations in the USA. Visit www.ghostlyexcursions.com and join us on our next adventure. And we're back. Hey, Chris.
I'm ready.
So, we were talking about
You
psychic.
chit-chatting when we're off.
I know, right?
What's that?
Well, why not? But yeah, that's Vortex Ghost Gear and Ghostly Excursions, and hopefully when the world opens back up again, we'll be going back out doing our investigations and whatnot. All right, I gotta shut my thing off over here. I got to answer a couple little comments on the thing. People were saying they can't find that page. I'm like, maybe it's not published yet. I don't.
Maybe it's not published yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
like I said, at the end of the show, we'll put
They can friend me on Facebook on the CEE George. And once we have it all published, I'll be putting it out there and inviting everybody.
Okay, I sent Greg a friend request. He hasn't answered it yet.
Okay, he will.
Yeah,
You better
accept Mama's friend request. I'll come out there.
Kick your butt for me.
That's right.
It's a lot closer than I am.
That's right. So Mama, what else do you want to know about Chris?
What is the biggest thing you can tell me about Gina that I can use as blackmail?
Oh no.
Loose lips sink ships. A real friend
in other
will
words-
never divulge.
So, and afterwards, we'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll talk later. I would never pin her out on anything.
No. Well, I don't do anything bad anyway.
No.
Sorry.
I don't.
I'm kidding. No, Gina's a sweetheart. Hey, Beth. Gina's a sweetheart. She made the mistake of bringing me on, so I'm going to be the troublemaker. Okay. What sets you apart from mainstream psychics?
Well, I don't think I'm anything like the regular psychics. A lot of psychics will get cards and flip them and tell you 2 or 3 things. I talk, and I talk fast. The messages come very quickly for me. And, I give people, I only do half-hour readings, but I give people more in a half hour than other psychics give them in an hour, even more. I'm not going to tell you that the universe is going to give you everything you want. I'm going to tell you, yeah, the universe might help you, but you need to get up off your ass and make it happen. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to tell you honestly. I'm going to tell you as nicely as I can, but I'm going to tell you. And I'm not a 60 or 70-year-old, white woman with glasses. I'm a 51-year-old.
I think I'm not wearing my glasses.
Yeah, I'm different. I'm not, most psychics aren't like me. Like I used to do a lot of psychic fairs, which I stopped doing because they just really bothered me. And everybody was very theatrical, who was wearing a sash and putting Florida water on themselves. And me, I sit down, I read. I don't have time, for the fluff.
When you do readings, do you allow, because you, like you say, you do talk quickly and you do give a lot of information, do you allow people to record the
They could do whatever they want. They could record it, they could videotape. I couldn't care less. I put a pen and paper out there for them to write. Well, now with this coronavirus, I've been doing everything on instant messenger, FaceTime. But they could do whatever they want. I have no rules. My only rule is don't ask me something you don't want to know. Can't promise it's going to come to me. If it does, I'm telling you.
I like that.
Me too.
Because there's a lot of people that like who won't cross. Like I know you, if you see something not so good in the future, you'll tell them, but you won't sugarcoat it, but you won't be like, yo, bitch, excuse me,
No.
yo, you're gonna die.
No.
You
Mama, the thing with me, people see me on Facebook and I put funny things out there sometimes. I do my live videos where I torture my mother and whatnot. And
I haven't seen that, but poor mama.
Well, people think they get this certain impression of me, and then they come to me for a reading. And when it's time to be psychic medium, Chris George, it's all business. Gina could tell you that. We could be doing something, have this great time, partying, having a good time. Time to be psychic medium, Chris George. All the other stuff stops, and it's all about being professional. It's important to me. My reputation is very important. As a psychic, all you have is your reputation. That's it. If
and a lot of people don't see that.
Nobody will come to you.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't see that. They see, like they see the Chris George who puts out those funny things, who puts up torturing his poor mom, and all the other fun things that you do as Chris, the man. Okay, but when you become the medium, it's like flipping a switch, and you become serious. And I've seen you, not seen you, but I've heard you give readings before, and to me, there's a tone in your voice that changes.
Yeah, I do. I get in. I go on a whole different level. It's not me. It's me, but it's a whole different level. My tone does change, and apparently I move my lips a lot, which I don't even realize I'm doing. Like I talk without realizing I'm doing it. Yeah,
Oh, look, that's cute.
He does.
Oh, really can't wait to see that.
He's
yeah, I don't even realize I do it.
Yep, little mouse. Like the little mouse, like you gotta watch the mouse videos. You gotta release the mouse videos. Oh my God.
And when they come up, I'll put them out there.
Chris wears his heart on his sleeve. Yes, he does. All right, I'm gonna show a series. All right, first picture I'm gonna show has 4 pictures in it, and I want you to tell me what's going on in these 4 pictures, and then I'm gonna put up another one with 3 pictures that I want you to tell me what's going on.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that was 1, 2, 3. That was 3 different exorcisms, and the bottom right one where you see the spirit looking at me, that was during a healing circle.
Okay. And what is it that's on that couch? Like the top right. What is that one?
Those are all from 3 separate exorcisms that I did. I had spirit in me in all 3 of them. The first one, if you see, my arms are twisted outward, and
yeah,
that's just kind of like disturbing for me to look at. The top right one that I'm looking at, I don't remember. I don't remember when any of them were. Honestly, I've done so many of them, but each one of them I had a different spirit in me, and yeah, that's what you're seeing. I'm in a 100% channeled state. The one on the bottom right, I was doing a healing circle, and that spirit that you see staring at me right next to me, not the little Dean Martin, the actual spirit that's like kind of connected to me. that's Dr. Raj, and that's a healer that I channel when I'm in a channel state and I do healing circles. And somebody got that picture, and that's one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's a cool picture. I got some cool stuff too. Now there's 3 more. Are that one, the big one?
Yes.
Is creepy as hell. Now,
well,
what
that
is
that happened here on Staten Island. That was one of the 3 exorcisms that I would say was demonic. Okay, and I'd like to talk about the whole demon thing when we get a chance. But that was a spirit of a man that when he was alive was actually a clown, and he was a child molester. And when I walked into the house, I seen him, and I told everyone, I said, I see what looks like an evil clown to me. And they were like, come on, Chris. And I said, please take a picture right in that corner. And I don't know how many pictures they took, but they did take a lot of pictures. And one person got that, and that's it. So that was that one. The one that looks like a hand is holding my face, that was, I don't know if you remember Tamara. That happened at her house when her daughter was being attacked by spirit. And that was just, I don't know exactly what it was, but when Tamara tells the story of that exorcism, she says that she feels it was the hand of God pulling spirit out of me. Now, can I confirm that? No, I cannot, because I don't remember it. But when I look at that picture, it's interesting. It's obviously something like attaching to my head. And the bottom right picture, that was years ago at St. Andrew's Cemetery. And I went there with a family who wanted me to channel their grandmother. And when I channeled her, if you were to like put that picture out and people blow it up, half my face is me and half my face is not. And the crazy thing about that picture is when I was channeling her, she said, why is this guy bothering me? Why are you guys here? Leave me alone. I want to rest. And I remember when I came out of trance, I felt like I had eaten meatballs, and she was an old Italian lady, and they were like, yeah, well, she used to make the meatballs every Sunday. And I literally felt like I had meatballs in my mouth.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So, all right. So let's talk about demonology today. The demonologists that are out there, your thoughts on those, and what's your take on all
Well, my take, okay. So everyone knows I've done 103 exorcisms, okay? Of the 103, I would say that 3 of them were demonic. That's less than 3%, okay? When you look at a lot of these ghost shows out there, I don't want to mention any names, but a certain someone is always getting attacked and getting possessed and, all that stuff, Zach Baggins. And, just...
I have an issue with Zach Baggins. I'm sorry.
Did that just slip? I'm sorry.
I have an issue with that person because he thinks he's a superstar, and as I keep saying, he's never been on my show, so he ain't a superstar.
Well, here's the thing about Zach, okay? I think he's become an investigator, but he's an actor. He's not. He's an actor, and that's my opinion. I know people that know him and say he's a really nice guy. I know people that know him and say he's an asshole. And either way, I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. But what is relevant to me is the fact that people that watch his show, they idolize this guy. For better or for worse, they idolize him, and he's always being attacked by spirit, and he's getting possessed, and he's getting attacked, and that causes hysteria. Okay, now look at me. I'm a legitimate spirit remover, and of 103 times that I've had to do that, only 3 I would consider to be demonic. It doesn't add up. So what you're seeing on TV a lot, in my opinion, is Hollywood. It's not real. It's them amping things up to, for ratings, and I understand it, but it makes it very difficult because now everyone thinks that they have demons. Oh, Chris, you got to come. There's demons in my house. No, it's not a demon,
Like that thing I played, that thing that sounded, you can't fight skulls. In the way that he sounded, he's trying to make himself sound like a demon.
Right.
So spirits will make themselves bigger, better, because they can do that. They learn how to do that, Yeah. And,
yes.
To get
what's interesting about spirit, especially the negative ones, like if you want to talk exorcism, spirit never think that they're going to lose. They don't think that we as humans, the living, are on their level. We can't beat them, and that's their mentality. And,
it's still the opposite.
It is. Well, no, it isn't always the opposite. you know, a lot of times they win. That's why you have possessions. That's why you have attachments. That's why you have hauntings and stuff like that. But, you know, you get the right person in there that knows what they're doing, you could clear that space.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the people that are going in the wrong situations, either drinking, doing drugs, not grounding, not shielding,
Right.
you know, acting like Zach Bagans on an investigation, you know, and taunting and provoking. Yeah, shit's gonna happen to you, you know. So that's doing the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and yeah,
Right.
it's gonna bite you in the ass. All right. So then, you know, do you get what you deserve? But it can
Absolutely.
be, but as a living though, you do really have more power than they do, you know, and it's
The
like
thing is,
you have
and I
to
said it earlier,
know that.
you have to know you're stronger. If
Yeah.
you have any doubt when dealing with negative spirit, you're going to lose.
Right.
I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you're going to lose. You have to be positive. You have to know that you're stronger. You have to know that there's no way it can infiltrate. You have to be stronger than the spirit. You can't give them an inch because they'll take it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why, like, when I'm the 3 removals that I worked with you on, the first one was like a learning thing for me, you know,
Mhm.
but wow, I did learn quite a bit. And you know, and you told me what I need to do, you know, and you told me how to handle the situation. And, you know, this could happen, that could happen, this could, you know, and we went over it and over and over and over before we got there, you know. And so I
Yeah.
knew exactly to keep my voice level, to keep the situation
But
calm.
you're also a quick study and you already had like the mentality that you needed.
Well, maybe, but you know, it's through. You're a good teacher. You're just a good teacher in general. You're just a, you know,
Thank you.
all the classes that you teach, whether it's psychic development and all these other classes, and I'll ask you about those when we're done. All these other classes about the candle magic and the mojo bags and all these other things that you teach. It's amazing. You know, it's like
Thank you.
this.
I love teaching. Teaching is what I love doing.
He's great at it. You know.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do have to have that mentality. If you're going to be doing spirit removal, Greg needs to have that level of, you know, self-assuredness, you know.
Yeah, you know, you can't be arrogant, but you can be a little bit cocky. You can't be arrogant. You can't. The second, you know, ego takes over, you know, people will see it, people will know it, and they'll call you out on it. So it can't ever be about ego.
Right. Ma.
Yes, but
Ma.
oh, but Mom.
You guys heard her, right?
And she walked by. It's like, I want to say, hi, Ma. I miss you, Ma. Hi.
That's
You
Miss
made up.
Daisy.
Yes. The poor woman that gets tortured. He used to chase her around the house with the snake, Prada.
Yeah, no more snake. Now I just karate chopper.
Yeah, oh my God. You guys were going to throw her in the pool. I'm like, oh my God.
We threatened it. We would never do it. My mother almost drowned in 2 feet of water one time. We know better than to put her in the water.
You know better than to do a lot of things, but you do it anyway. All right, so get back to like psychics and stuff and fakes and reals. Who do you like look up to, or is there someone that you look up to that's in the psychic?
In the psychic world, I look up to Joyce Keller first. She's an amazing woman and a phenomenal psychic. She actually gave most of the psychics today their start, you know, from back in the day with her radio show. She's a very close personal friend of mine and someone I consider to be somewhat of a mentor. I think James Van Prague is phenomenal. After that,
That's about it. All right.
well, listen, like I was on the Montel Williams show with Sylvia Brown. I got thrown off of that show. She didn't like me very much. Then I was on the Maury Povich show 5 times, and there's a psychic on there, well, it used to be, called Jeffrey Wands, who had me thrown off the Maury Povich show. So I guess I kind of clash with psychics. I don't know, but it just seems to be that's what's been, you know, what has happened in the past. James Van Prague, I have a lot of respect for him. When I met him, I would say I was married, so it had to be about 12 years ago at the Omega Institute. He was awesome. He called me up on stage with him and had me do readings with him up on stage. And he didn't even know me. He says, "You with the blue eyes, get up here." And he had me read with him, which I couldn't believe it. And then a year later, he invited me and this girl, Debbie Caruso, who has since passed from cancer. He invited us up for a pajama party at the Omega Institute. He says, "Come up, you guys are staying in my room. We're going to have psychic and paranormal night." We went up there in our pajamas in his room and did EVPs. I did channeling because he's not a channel. He's like, "Go show me what you could do, Chris George." And I did some channeling and we got all psychic. And we had a lot. It was an amazing, amazing night. I have a lot of respect for him.
Awesome.
He was very nice to me.
Awesome. I miss.
He's been doing a lot of Facebook Lives. Have you seen that?
Say again?
He's been doing a lot of Facebook Lives. Have you seen him?
James Van Prague? No, I haven't. I haven't seen it at all.
I always.
But I do respect him. I think he's genuine. I think he's not only is he a good psychic, he's a good guy. You see, a lot of these psychics out there, and I'm not going to mention any names. I honestly won't. They, they're good at what they do, but personally, that a lot of them aren't what they seem. Are they good psychics? Yeah, they are. Sylvia Brown, she had her moments where she was really good. She had her moments where she wasn't. All of them, they all have their moments. Okay. Yeah. And psychically, they're all good at what they do, but a lot of them personally aren't very nice, to be quite honest with you.
Then I have a question. When somebody comes to you, say me, if you didn't know me from Holdable, and I said,
Right.
"Okay, I'm getting these things. I'm psychically inclined, or and you realize that I'm not. Do you get that? Can you tell if somebody's shining you on? Do your guides help you with that?
I teach psychic development class, okay? And I had this kid. He's not a kid. I mean, maybe he wasn't a kid. He came to me and he just bragged about how psychic he was, and he was trying to take over my class and teach my class. And I was like, this guy, he's a great actor. He was a great actor, but he didn't have a psychic anything in him. It was all about a show. And I called him out on it, not in front of everybody. At the end of the class, I told him, I said, "You know what?" I said, "You put on a good show." I said, "But you're not welcome here anymore. I think that you came here, to practice your acting skills." I said, "I don't appreciate it." I said, "In my opinion, you're making a mockery of what I do, and I don't appreciate it. You got to go." And I never worked on him. I never taught him again. And you want to hear the interesting thing? This is the craziest part of the story. That same guy, my partner here, went to the Kreischer Mansion, okay, to do an investigation. He was the psychic, and he's not even psychic. Oh. And he said, I remember the video. He said something like, "You gotta the spirits. They can bless you. They can bless you. You gotta be nice because they can bless you. They can give you blessings like you can't even imagine." I'm thinking to myself, this guy is absolutely, insane. And he was on a YouTube video with Greg doing an investigation at the Kreischer Mansion that was televised. And I'm like, how the hell did this guy, who is not a psychic, he's an actor, not even a really good one, and he's the one it just kind of blew me away. It was a kid I threw out of my psychic development class.
It kills me about all these freaking shows. I swear to God. It's like with what you do, with what I do, hell, with some of the other I've gotten is like phenomenal. Like I've got 15 apparitions walking, right? And that excites me. Right. And then you see them get a little freaking blob on a flare. It's like, really? I got freaking Roy walking down the hall of Rolling Hills. I got that grabbing the boob. I got all these great things, right? And I'm like, and these people are going, "Oh, did you hear that? It said, hey." It's like I get conversations, right? It boggles my mind how some of these people get these shows, but it's like you got to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody, Yeah. But again, Hollywood, and then once you get on there, and then it's like why John Zaffis left,
right?
Him to do this and do that and he won't, so he walked.
The whole thing about, especially on the psychic part of things. The frauds. That's a big issue with psychics. what Greg and I are doing, a part of what we're doing on the second site investigations, and if you don't mind, I'd like to bring him back on so he could say it. And I think you're going to be interested in this because you would be like, okay, Chris, you're a psychic. Is this really what you're going to do? But it is. Come here, Greg. Explain to them.
Hi, Greg. I just wanted to say one thing before, Greg, you speak. Remember when we drove up to the Kreischer Mansion because I was at your house one time? And right outside the door, we were watching deer because I had my flare, like I'm the queen of the flare, right? So I had my flare, we're watching the deer out in the yard at the Kreischer Mansion. And all of a sudden I'm looking, there's a friggin' body standing right next to the car.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I got all the pictures of it and everything. And it's like there's nobody there. I mean, we were on the side of the road and it's just us in the car. We didn't get out of the car. It can't be a reflection on the car because I'm taking the picture out the window and it's right standing next to us. Big fat.
Yes, it was awesome. Oh unbelievable. Explain to them what we're going to be doing with this as well.
All right, so you're driving around Manhattan, and you see those little sidewalk signs, the little A-frame, and they flap it around. They say $5 readings. Psychic, come inside. And then, of course, the windows all decorated. There's a chandelier. There's lights. There's neons flashing. And the person invites you in. You sit on the velvet chair, and you give them $5 for a reading. And then they tell you you have attachments.
You have a generational curse. That's the big thing that they say. A generational curse.
You'll never find love. There's a curse on your family. And you're going to have to give me money, and I'll put it on the altar, and I'll burn candles. And then they want to sell you their crystals. And
well, selling the crystals isn't the problem. The problem is when they're like, you got to give me $3,000 to make a wax figure to get this curse off you. It's fraud.
Or $3,000 for a crystal.
Yeah.
So, and then what happens is some of these people are they're in town, they're on vacation, and then they walk in to the police department with their accent, and they explain that they got swindled, because it's a deception crime, and a lot of times if the police won't give it a full investigation, they'll mark it off as a civil, like it's an exchange of money. You were given a price and you paid it, and now that's on you. But that's not true. It is a deception crime. It is in the penal law. And what I'm going to do is we're gonna start looking at cases like this. And if there's a way that we could prove wrongdoing and a pattern of it, then we're gonna go back to the county district attorney and we're gonna present it to them and demand that justice gets done and arrest this.
Right, and what that does is it makes the legitimate psychics more legitimate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doris is saying, "Hey, Gina B and C George in the house." That's right.
That's it.
That's right. The duo is back together, dynamic duo. But these are the guys. Where are they? Over here, down here. These are the guys you're gonna watch now. All right. They're going to be working together, Doris. They're going to be doing some incredible things. They're going to put up a new page and a new website and a new all this stuff. Second Sight Investigations?
Yeah, Second Sight Investigations.
And yeah, so you're going to follow them, follow what they're going to be doing. Pretty cool stuff. I mean, Greg, that's awesome. I'm glad that that's going to happen.
Gina, it's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
Hey, of course. I miss you guys. How's Jen?
Jen's great. She's right here.
Jen's here. Wait. I don't know if you want to do this. Do you guys want to hear? But we got to do this short version.
You gonna sing? Hi. How are you? I haven't seen you in so long.
I know. I miss you.
Do you want to hear a great story?
Yes.
All right, but you gotta keep it. Yes, you can't make it the 20-minute version. You gotta make it the 5-minute version.
What is it?
How you guys met? Come in.
So Greg was the detective on my case. My husband was a victim of a homicide back in 2008, and he passed away. And Greg was the detective. So what happened was I met Chris through my in-laws, who Chris actually channeled my husband who had passed away, and my in-laws were blown away by Chris and how, well, he was able to contact my husband and find out things about my husband and everything. So they had a picnic, and my in-laws were like, well, the psychic would like to speak with you. And I was like, oh, I don't believe in psychics. They're all, full of shit and, all that. And they're like, no, come, he really wants to speak with you. I said, okay. So I go to the picnic and I sit down with Chris and I says to him, I says, am I going to meet anybody? What's going on? This and that. And now it was like 2 years after my husband had passed. And he says to me, yeah, he goes, actually, the guy that you're going to be with, he's like right under your nose. And I'm like, who could this be? Because I was on a few dating sites and I didn't really, nothing really stood out like to who, this person could be. So he says, yeah, he goes, you're going to be with this guy. And I said, well, you have to be a little more descriptive and help me out here.
And I described him.
He described
and
what
she
Greg
said,
looked
no
like.
way.
And the guy that he described, I said, no, I don't think so. I don't think that that's for me, facial hair and then, light eyes, light hair. I said, no, that's not my type. I'm sorry. He goes, I'm telling you, within a week, something's going to happen. Something's going to come about and you're going to know that that's the guy. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. Right. I go home, a week goes by. So what happened, I was on a dating site and I had somebody that was texting me like 600 text messages because I decided not to meet him. So I called up Greg and I got nervous because the guy said he was going to come to my house and he said he knew my IP address and all this crazy stuff. So I told Greg, this guy's, looking to come here, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, Greg ends up checking on me like a week later and says to me, what have you been doing? Everything okay? That guy contacting you? I said, no, not anymore. Whatever you did, thank you. So he goes, you've been going out? I said, no, not really. But actually, I'm just going to go out this Friday. He goes, oh, well, can I come meet you? And I said, yeah, sure. You could bring some of your sexy detective friends with you because I didn't like him. And he goes, no, I'm not going to share you. And I said, why? So now I thought about it and his description fit what Chris told me.
Wow.
So I was so scared and so taken back. And about a month later, we had a party for my in-laws. I had a 50th anniversary party and Chris was there and was sitting in the back of the restaurant. And I had invited Greg because my in-laws had said, oh, invite that detective. He's so nice. He helped us out. He did such a good job. I said, I really don't want to invite him. I don't want him to think that I like him. I was very nervous. And they're like, no, invite him. I invited him. And me and Chris are sitting in the back of the room. And I'm telling Chris about that. I think I know who the guy is. And Chris goes, oh, really? You know who he is? I'm like, yeah.
Then he walked in. I said, that's him.
Yep. He walked in and I looked, I grabbed Chris and I was like, the guy's here. And he goes, where? I said, him. He goes, yep, that's the guy you're going to be with. And here we are 10 years later.
Right.
Aw,
And you guys
that
are
is so
a great
sweet.
couple. Honest to God, I love you guys.
I can't believe it. It was crazy.
You know
It's
what,
right here.
everybody? Just you heard it from me. All right. If you have not heard her sing, holy shit, this girl can sing. All right.
Singing. Yes. We'll do that another time.
Sing. You can sing. Damn. You should be on The Voice or something.
Thank you, Gina.
Awesome.
We got to have another para party.
I know. We do. We gotta.
That'll come.
That'll come. Good night, girls.
Well, hey, it was great to see you, Jen. Awesome.
Great to see you guys.
Take
care.
Bye.
Bye.
So, Greg,
We
you
have
got
a question in the chat room.
which one?
Okay, Chrissy Ann. Chris, do you believe in curses?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Absolutely.
here we go.
Sorry, I
I
mean,
believe the woman who came here today, I believe it had something to do with Santeria. I believe a Santoro put a little zingara on her.
all right,
What's
explain.
the photo? Yeah.
Explain what that is.
I'm Canadian, so no.
A Santoro is there's a religion called Santeria, and it's a beautiful religion, but and it can be a beautiful religion, but there's a lot of Santoros, which are like their high priest or priestess, and it's not always what you seem. And I'll tell you this, of all the exorcisms I've done, I think about 30 of them would directly link to Santeria.
Cool.
In the front of the store, they have all the, the religious articles and, that type of stuff. And in the back of the store, they chop off chickens' heads. And next thing you know, you got an issue.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who hear the word voodoo and they think all the negative connotations, but it's not.
No.
Well,
remember
voodoo,
when
the
we
thing
had
with
the show?
voodoo can be very loving. It could be very loving. It could be very evil. It's like, I always use the same analogy. And Gina, you've heard this before. I think you've even said this. You know, a scalpel, you put it in a killer's hand and it's a weapon. You put it in a surgeon's hand and it's a beautiful tool. So,
Exactly.
you know, it's the same thing.
Yeah. There's good and evil in everything. You know,
Yes.
we used to have Joe Robichaux on all the time. And
Yes.
and he would say all about voodoo, hoodoo, fairy folklores and all kinds of things. He was like, you know,
My favorite.
he's down in New Orleans now with JoJo. JoJo's in New Orleans. She wants us to have a para party down there. She wants us to go down there and have a big event, you know, a big ghost hunt event. We should, because you know, Bob,
You know me, I almost never say no. So
no, we should like for next year try to set up a thing so we can go like Myrtle Plantation where we can have a seance and we can have a big investigation, because man, that would be
I'm in.
I would love it. I mean, I want to go down absolutely with Bob, you know, and have all our equipment and do all our stuff. But man, to have you there, you know, to do what you do and the channeling and the psychic stuff and the seance, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. So
I agree.
So yeah, would have to. Hi, Steve. We would have to set that up early, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and try to get that going. So that would
What
be,
was the name of that mansion again?
Burn Bray or the Kreischer? Which one?
The one that Gina just said in New Orleans.
Oh, that was the Myrtle Plantation.
yeah.
Plantation.
Yeah. Well, one of the, you know, there's a billion places down there. You know,
Mhm.
but Myrtle Plantation is really well known. So
Yes.
yeah, JoJo is supposed to look up a whole bunch of different things for me. And yeah. And this Jody Delvecchio, Jody Toes Delvecchio says, yes, there's a lot of spirits in New Orleans, and yes, there are many. It's
I have a quick question on that name. Toes?
Jody Toes.
Well, because I'm the godfather of psychic mediums,
Yes.
we formed what's known as the Paramafia.
Okay.
Gina is the Parafox. Then we have Tom, who's Genghis Tom Gillespie, and Jody. She's one of the enforcers. We call her Toes Del Vecchio because she's got the nicest toes in the paranormal community.
Okay.
There's all of us right there. This was at Tom's wedding. So that's Genghis, Tom, and Jody. We're recreating our caricatures poses here at Tom's wedding. And yeah, and Jody, poor Jody. She didn't like her pictures being taken and stuff, and especially of her feet. Chris would be going, no matter where we were, taking pictures of her feet and her, you know, her toes and posting them. He made a big, huge poster.
We made a poster that we raffled off at Para Party.
Yeah, of Jody.
We all signed it.
Yep, yeah, and that is that the one that went to
I think Doris.
Doris. Is that the one that she got? Doris.
I think so.
Because she said she still has the poster, and I'm just wondering if that was the one. Because that's funny. That is funny. Oh my God, we had so much fun. We always do. We have so much fun every time we get together. Anyway.
Yes.
You know. But there was something I wanted to ask you about. Oh, speaking of like spirit removals and things and all those pictures and everything that was up there, what was the like most difficult one or the hardest case or the most difficult spirit? I mean, if those are all different things, then give me
The most difficult one happened. It started the day before Easter, and then it went into Easter. It was about 17 hours. I walked into the house, and when I went into the bedroom, it was just it was the most unbelievable thing I'd ever seen. It was like a movie. It was literally like The Conjuring. I walked in there. There was a little boy that guided me to the bedroom, which I'd never been to the house before. I had no idea what bedroom I had to go to. This little boy directed me, a spirit, into this room. When I got there, I remember this girl had these trees with like necklaces hanging, and they were all moving. And we walked in there, and everybody went, "Oh my God!" That little boy turned into about a 7-foot, half dog, half human looking thing, and that's one of the 3 that were demonic. It was a 17-hour exorcism.
Wow.
By far the hardest exorcism I've ever done. I had flu-like symptoms for 6 days. My whole team, there was about 6 people there. They all had flu-like symptoms for 3 days, and they were just in the room with me. So that was pretty intense.
Wow. I just put up a picture here. Now, Doris said it's the three of us in the bathroom. Now,
Oh God.
is that the one? Is that the one, Doris? That was funny.
Yep, you in the bathroom.
Yep.
So embarrassing.
Oh, so cute.
Oh, we did.
Mary Jane says scary.
They are like my brothers. I mean, Chris is like he's like my little brother. You know, I'll protect him till the day I die. So if anyone goes,
Mischievous little one.
Vice versa.
yeah. So but yes, we have had some funny times. Yeah, yep. Doris, that is funny. So that's the poster that we made. That's hilarious.
So how did you guys meet?
Me and Chris.
We met at Salem Con, the first one.
Yep. And
She ran up on me, scared the hell out of me. You know, I was like, "Who is this crazy girl?" And you know, I'm still to this day so frightened of that moment.
Flip that. I was standing there and I was talking to Victor and someone. They were standing next to each other, side by side. Who was it? Victor and someone.
Rachel Hoffman was there.
Was it Rachel at the time when you came running?
I think it was Rachel. Yeah.
All of a sudden he came running across the room and he like put his arms around Victor and was it Rachel? I can't remember.
I think so.
But yeah, and then he like came zooming in, like his face was about 2 inches away. He's like, "Hey, what are you know?" And the eyes bugging out.
And we became friends that minute.
Oh my God. And then he started laughing. And then Victor started saying, "Oh, this is my co-host, Second Sight, blah, blah, blah," you know, because I knew Victor.
Okay.
Wait. He was my co-host.
Yes. Because I knew Victor. I understood the concept, right? But yeah, and then we started talking, and then and then we've been friends ever since. And I think the next year,
Yes, we have.
we're doing, Salem Con together, So we started C&G Productions. We did all our stuff together, our parapsychic events, and it's like it's like an instant, just like an instant bond, an instant family. Like
we were friends. We were friends immediately.
Yeah, and I feel like I've known him my whole life. Like he's my brother,
Many lifetimes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. So
Yep.
Okay. We have a question in the chat room from Mary Jane. How far out are you for readings, Chris?
I have next week. I'm all booked. The week after that, I do readings all day in the morning and in the evening. If I have to do an afternoon, I will. I'm doing them all on instant messenger FaceTime. If they want a reading, just inbox me, friend me, inbox me, and I'll get you all scheduled. I'm doing about 20 readings a week.
cool. All right, so let's talk about the classes and stuff that you do. Now, how are you teaching these classes, and what's what's your favorite class to teach?
Well, I haven't taught it in a while. It's my psychic development class because, I like to do that in person. And until this quarantine is done, I really can't. So what I do is every Friday night, I teach a spell class. I teach 2 spells every Friday night. It's only $40 a person. We do it on Zoom. I do my friend Patricia, and the classes are phenomenal. We've done them 8 weeks in a row. Tomorrow night, we canceled it. We're taking a break. But then we'll be doing it again next Friday. It's usually about 2 hours from 8 to 10. And like I said, it's a lot of fun. We teach a lot, and the spells are phenomenal. And this Sunday, for those of you that are interested, I'm doing Zoom readings, what I call psychic poker. It's when I have like 7, 8, 9 decks of tarot cards, and people ask me questions and I read the cards. Okay. If you ask me a question and the cards are telling me something else, I'll tell you, hold on to your question for the next time. Let me tell you what the cards are telling me. I'll read them and then I'll go to the next person. And that's going to be this Sunday from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time. I mean, 8 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. And it's $30 a person. You pay me on Venmo or PayPal, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun.
That's cheap for what you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, it's an hour. I mean, so, I don't know how many people are going to be there.
after your
Yeah,
show.
it's
After
fun.
Mama's show. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Then
for those
Mama-
of you who aren't my friends, send me a friend request. Let me know you want to be part of the psychic night on Sunday. I will add you to the instant messenger group for it. And about 15 minutes before, 20 minutes before, I'll put the link in and you just join. And around 8:15, whatever, we'll start. And it'll go on for about an hour. Everyone gets to ask me questions. It's round table. So I go around to every single person. You'll probably get to ask me 4 to 5 questions apiece. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, I have a question, which
Yeah.
is rare. I really suck at asking questions when I go to shows or psychics and they say, well, what's your question? And I know I make people ask me questions anyway. I suck at questions because I know when I'm asking you a question, I get an answer in my head, and to me, that's my. It could be the exact same thing you're going to give me, but it's my one-sided mind. So if somebody comes to you and says, "I want a reading," but it's just a general, because I can't.
And I'll give it. Then I'll tell you what. Then I'll tell you what the cards say.
Oh, they're really insane. The cards he has too, they're all different. They're so unique. I've never seen anything like it. And he'll say, all right, you tell me when to stop. You know what I mean? He'll flip the cards and you say stop, and then he'll go and go, nope, you need 2 more. You know what I mean? And put down 2 more. And then it's like, pick a deck. You pick a deck, nope. You want this one. And then you pick up this. So it's like, he's getting the information, so it's going to come out the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And
it intrigues me. I've never seen you do it, but I have spoken about you doing the psychic poker readings because I do a solitaire reading, and I said I cannot play poker to save my life. When I say play poker, go see Chris.
Yeah, when people hear that I do psychic poker, they're like, "But I don't know how to play poker." I said, "Do you know how to ask a question? Then you could play. I do everything else. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, it's just a reading. It's just the name of it. You know what I mean? Because it's cards. But it's not.
But I use like 8 decks, 9 decks sometimes.
Different cards.
How many decks do you have?
I got about 40, but I use, maybe 20 of them on the regular. I switch them up a little bit depending on what I'm doing. They all talk to me a little bit differently.
Yeah, I just took out the steampunk ones that you gave me a long time ago.
Those were very expensive. Those were given to me as a gift, okay? And they didn't speak to me, but she loves steampunk. And if I remember right, they were like $350 for that deck. And I said, they as beautiful, and they were so beautiful. They were big cards like this. And I said, as beautiful as they are, they just don't speak to me. So I gave them to her. I gave a bunch of them away.
I know Mama wants me to leave her all my.
Yeah, I've always said when the time comes that she passes, she's got to put little stickers, get those little name tag things. Go, this belongs to Mama. It's in unforeseen circumstances. This is Mama's. I want one of
all my metaphysical things.
Yep. And one fox.
Well,
she's got plenty.
I know.
I know.
Count
I'm having world records come in here one of these days, and we'll count.
Yeah, but when we talk about the classes, I got to tell you something. I love teaching the spell classes. They're so much fun, and they're really in depth, and they're not like these little cheesy little spells. These are like in depth, and they're a lot of fun, and they work. Especially if your intent is really pure and focused. Yeah. The results are pretty incredible.
Right. And candle magic. I think the candle magic is really...
Well, I teach that in my class. I teach that in my spell class. Almost, I would say 70% of the spells I teach have candles attached to them. Candles, jars. You have no idea. The classes are fantastic.
Oh, Jojo says his naughty ones are funny.
Yeah, there's some pretty crazy cards. But he asked me at one of the things that we were doing. He said, all right, here, you sit down. You tell me what these cards say for, I think it was Antoinette, And he says, because he says he looks at them and it's like a little movie playing out. It is. I sat down and I saw these cards and I was like, well, you're avoiding something and you could see it. I'm like, you're not making the right decision. You're not taking this turn. It's like you could see all these things were in these different cards and you could really see it. It was really cool. But those were his cards, and that was a one-time deal.
But you did a good job. You did a good job. I remember. That was at your house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was neat, you know. But yeah.
Christiane says, I've done it twice. He's amazing. I'm assuming she's talking about your
Do you
Psychic
still have
poker.
that? Yeah, the psychic.
Okay.
Do you still have that video? Because I think that was I had that video on the computer that died. That
I have it.
Oh, you got to send that to me again because we got a video of him telling how he does it. And
I'll send it to your inbox.
Good. So we'll share that because
Okay.
if you guys have not seen him do the psychic poker, seriously, when he does it, sign up, do the Zoom classes, you know, and then once all this crap is over, you know, I think we're gonna have to have an event at my house. We're gonna have to.
Whenever you're ready, you know, what are you living out 2 hours away? I'll be there.
Yeah, I know. Now I live closer to you, and so then I have,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't see you. But yeah, I mean, we could do we could have an investigation here at night plus psychic poker. We should do an event here.
Absolutely, I'm all in.
Cool beans.
and I'll be there on the internet.
There you go.
Yeah. We'll just, you know, we'll Skype you in the corner. Have you sit there. Yeah, so you Pennsyltuckians, you know, but it would be fun. And because I miss it too. I mean, just to watch him is pretty amazing on what he does. What else do you want to know? Mama's the one. I know everything about you inside out, you know.
This is true.
What would be your dream location to not only do an investigation with Gina, but to do your connection with spirit? One that you haven't done.
I want to go to the island in Italy, was it Puglia? And I want to go to Island of the Dolls. That's my dream. I also want to go to experimentation, which is in China. They did human experiments on humans there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to. Those 3 places are the 3 places I would love to go. Island of the Dolls, put me there with 1 or 2 people and leave me for about a week. I would be in heaven.
Nope, I don't want to go there. It's too small. It's too buggy. It's too swampy. It's like, nope, no, thank you. But I do want to go to Pavia. I would kill to go there. That's the Italian island. That's
so. Tell me about Pavia.
Oh my God! Well, there's a huge building on there. They dumped everybody in there. Everybody was sick of leprosy and everything else. They just dumped these people there, and they all died there. And it's just the most haunted location ever. It's insane.
They say it's one of the most haunted places in the world.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it was actually for sale a couple years back.
I don't think that was right. I really don't.
I don't know. I saw it. Maybe it wasn't true. Maybe it was a hoax. I don't know.
2 hours south from me is 2 towns away. What is David?
Dave lives in Australia.
Oh, he's not. Well, this is in Italy.
Yeah.
He's by Italy. I want to go to Italy in the worst possible way. But now I lost it. I wanted to ask you something. Come on, Chris. What is it? What is it?
I'm sending you vibes. Come on. Think of it.
Damn it.
Okay. What is with you while she's thinking? Let's see if I get this one. What is it with you and cigars?
You know what? It's a mindset. It relaxes me. I think it's cool as shit. I enjoy it. I feel when I'm just kicking back with a couple of my paisans, just sitting back, having a cigar, a glass of scotch. It just puts me in a good mood.
Okay.
I love it.
You used to always have cigars after we get done an investigation. I haven't had a cigar in a long time.
As soon as this interview is done, I'm going outside. I have my little Second Sight Cigar Club, okay, and we're gonna go have a cigar and talk about the show.
You do videos from there.
Yeah. I started doing videos. Yeah. I actually bought I don't know when it's coming, maybe a couple weeks. A sign that says Second Sight Cigar Club that I'm hanging outside. All right. I got some special Scotch glasses that say Second Sight Cigar Club established 2020. You know, yes, it's my little lounge.
I don't know if Blog Talk's having an issue or not. Something just popped up on the screen, but I'm hoping Blog Talk is still going. I don't know. You know what? I know the question. All right, when we were co-host Second Sight, and who was your favorite guest that we had?
Sorceress Cagliascio, hands down. Nobody has ever been as good as her. And very, very close second. I shouldn't say close second. I should say 1 and 1A would be Michelle Arbeau. Absolutely adore her. I think she's phenomenal. But Sorceress Cagliostro is cut from a different cloth. She's one of the most intelligent women I've ever known, I've ever spoken to. And what she does is, I mean, it's different. It's pretty amazing. And she makes no apologies for her beliefs. And I respect her. I respect her a lot. She's the woman about 8 years ago, after I had her on my show for like the 5th time. She's probably been on my show about 15 times. She said, she called me on Skype and she said, you know, I don't like anybody. She goes, in fact, I hate people. She says, but there's something about you that I just feel a connection to you. And that made me feel proud because she's not that type of person, you know? So she saw something in me. And she said, I see what goes on Facebook with you. You know, there are people that really love you and there are people that really take advantage of you. And, you know, as badass as you can be, you know, you're a softie sometimes. She says, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice if you will allow me to give it to you. And I said, absolutely. Okay. She said, you need to edit your life every single day of your life. And I said, well, what do you mean? She says, if somebody doesn't belong there, get rid of them. If they're not adding to your life, if their negativity is bringing you down, if they're using you in any way, get rid of them. And I started doing it that day. And I remember, you know, Gina will remember this. I had a friend, his name was Anthony, and he was a really close friend of mine. But the guy basically used me every single day for psychic stuff. And it got to the point where I said, you know, you're not my friend. You call me, you tell me how much you love me, how much you love my family, but it was all about you. You know, you never called just to say hi. You called for psychic every single time. And I told him, I said, you know what? You don't belong in my life anymore. And I cut him out of my life. And I've been doing that for the last 8 years. And I'll tell you what, if you look, very little negativity in my life. Very little. I just don't accept it, and I just kind of get rid of it. So I edit my life every single day. And she is one of the most amazing guests you can ever have on a show. She's controversial. She's articulate. She's magical. She's pretty amazing.
But she does blood magic, so that's what
she does. Blood magic. She uses her own blood in magic, and she works hand in hand with demons. Yes, that's what she does.
Right. So yeah,
she does what's known as retribution spells. So say somebody rapes a kid and he or she gets off. She does, like, if the parents contacted her, she would do what's known as retribution spells. So she would only use it against somebody that's really bad. So, and she makes no apologies for what she believes in or what she does. And if you sit and have a conversation with her, by the end of the 2 hours, you'll be like, wow, you won't even believe some of the things she says.
That's true. That's true.
She did blow my Michelle Arbeau, I mean, I know you've had her on the show. Michelle is the #1 numerologist in the world. The woman is amazing.
Oh my God.
She's so amazing at numerology that she comes off as a psychic. That's how good she is.
Yep. You got.
I've asked her to be on my show, and at the moment she's like super busy, so she says not right now. But I said, okay, I'm gonna keep bugging.
Oh,
yeah, keep up with her because she'll blow you away.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh yeah. She every time she comes on, I have like 50,000 people ready. You know, so I'm just banging out numbers to her, and she just bangs out these readings one after the other, and it's like some people can have the same birth dates, the same, you know, times and everything, and they're completely different readings. It's just. It's crazy. It's crazy the way how good she is. And yeah, so Mary Jane says she's taking a class. I actually ordered her class.
Mary Jane has taken a couple of my magic classes.
Nice. Oh, nice. And Jojo says, yum, Michelle Arbeau. Jojo, you're funny. But all right, yeah, so what about like Stephen Popiotek? You see him anymore?
Stephen Popiotek is another pretty amazing guy, but not everybody can understand him. He speaks on a whole different level. He works on different realms, and the things he says are extremely interesting, but the average person won't understand it. He speaks in different, I don't even know how to explain it. He doesn't speak on this level. He speaks in different realms, and things that come into him are just so peculiar, but the guy's absolutely amazing as well. And a very close personal friend of mine.
Yeah. So but is Sorceress, is she still in Manhattan?
No, she moved. I think she's upstate somewhere now.
Oh, wow. Is she still doing
I
it?
actually just ordered her book for my daughter.
Really? Oh, your
Yeah.
daughter's gifted now.
Nicole bought a book from her, fell in love with it, so I bought her another book from her.
Wow. Really cool.
Yeah, my daughter's the witchy one. My daughter's the one, who's into all the spells and stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw the video with her in the
She's
haunted
quite
doll.
honestly.
Yeah, the doll and everything else, and she's like, she's fearless. She's like,
fearless.
Yeah, definitely, she's like you. So, Mama, what else do you want to know? We're like, we got 2 minutes.
No, well, I think there's a problem with your Skype, with your thing, because according to my clock, we've been off
90.
90 seconds.
90 seconds. Okay. Gosh, I had one question now. Okay. Worst investigation and why? Anything without Gina, we know. But.
I've never had a bad investigation. I can't I can't answer that. I don't think I've ever had an investigation that I didn't think was at least good. Every investigation I've ever been on has produced something. So,
okay.
Like I like the Shanley. I'm going back July 18th. I have 30 people spending the night there with me. So, I like the Shanley. But as far as a bad investigation, I don't think I've ever had one.
Cool beans. Well, listen, we're out of time. So thank you so much. You and Greg, I wish you the best of luck. Everything you do.
Thank you.
We'll set up something for my house. Honestly, just thank you for being here. And
it's always my pleasure. Anytime you're in a pinch and a guest cancels, just let me know. I'll pop on.
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. Aww. That's so sweet. All right. Well, good night.
I'm a witness.
Check him out.
Good night, everyone.
C. George. C.
Good night.
George. All right. Go and
10
friend
seconds.
request. All right. See you next
Good night, everybody. Thank
Good evening and welcome to the Fox Den. I am Gina B, and the place to be, P. Fox, the paranormal princess herself, Gina Bankston. And with me is my beautiful butterfly babe, the magical, the mystical Mama D, and we are here every Thursday evening from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to bring you a variety of guests to entertain you and to help you in any way we possibly can. Thank you for joining us, and please share our feeds.
All right, everybody. Please share the feeds, like it said. Please go to the YouTube, like and subscribe, and go find Chris on his Facebook page. And as soon as his new site is up, we'll make sure that everybody gets all those links that they need. And we appreciate you all. And buonanotte.
Night on.